Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday and this wonderful holiday weekend. Welcome to Shooting the Brass. My name is Scooter, host, and it doesn't get any better than that, right? Anyway, thanks for coming in tonight or today and listening in, watching in. I'm trying a new camera setup today to see if it's less blurry than it has been in the past, and it doesn't really look like it. So I guess I'll have to see what else I can try to make it work better. But anyway, today we are going to discuss Labor Day because tomorrow is, you guessed it, Labor Day. Now, Labor Day is a federal holiday in the United States, which is celebrated on the first Monday of September. Basically, that Monday ranges between September 1st and September 7th, as being the first Mondays of the month. It was to honor and recognize the American labor movement and the works and contributions of laborers to the development and achievements of the United States. The worker. The United States itself has built an enormous capability for production, retail, building, expansions, making factories, making parts, sending people to the moon. All of this would not have been possible without labor, right? All of us are pretty much anybody that has a job that works is considered labor. Now, for me, I'm a facilities manager. I manage the maintenance and well-being of our facility, but I'm still labor. I fix machines, I install machines, I tear out machines, I do all that kind of stuff. So when it comes down to it, we're all pretty much labor. Now, a lot of things have happened to labor since the Labor Day became an official holiday, and that was in 1894. Labor Day became a national holiday. We've come a long way since 1894, just a bit, with the type of labor we have. We're more automated and, we've increased our skill sets and our ideas and knowledge and capabilities. And so that's what tomorrow is supposed to celebrate. Now, labor has undergone a lot of changes. I remember seeing, old photos like from, the construction of the Empire State Building, coal miners, and black and white photos, coal miners, people that worked underground. Back then, when this first started, there wasn't really much in the way of protections for labor. Okay, we didn't have OSHA, we didn't have any type of protections for the employees. We only had whatever the employers would grant us. There wasn't any health care back then, insurance. So over the years, labor itself has developed, changed, modified, and evolved into what it is today. We're still at this point. The corporation, of course, is protected more than workers. Here in Arizona, we are a right to work state, and we're also, what's the other term? At will. Yeah, an at will state. So right to work basically was put into place so that people did not have to join labor unions. You can do your job without being part of a union. That's the right to work. Okay, you have the right to work without joining a union, without paying dues, without doing any of that. At will means mostly that you work at the will of your employer. Okay, they try to make it two-sided and say, well, your employer is legally allowed to let you go for absolutely no reason. They don't have to have a reason to dismiss you. The other side of that is we as workers can leave a company without giving them any reason. The problem with that is that we ourselves, the employees, the workers, this protects the companies more than it protects us. I mean, think about it. They can fire you whenever they want. They don't have to have a reason. You get a new manager, the manager doesn't like you, you're gone. You have no legal recourse because you work at the will of the employer. But there's a lot of good things going on and a lot of good participation by companies to try to help protect labor. Most of those organizations or whatnot are unions. Unions are, government has been trying to bust unions forever because unions and my dog give you the capability of collective bargaining. Okay. So when you can collectively bargain in whatever industry you're in a union, it helps drive wages and benefits up. Because, for example, I worked at Intel for many years doing the construction of their new fabs from 1995 to 93, 94 to 2003, I think. I spent all that time working at Intel to help build their factories. The one in Fab 9 expansion in New Mexico, Fab 11 in New Mexico, Fab 12, Fab 22 here in Arizona, D1B, which is now Fab 20, D1B, D1C, D1D, D1E. All of those are in Hillsboro, Oregon. I worked a couple of, 2 to 3 months, I think, in Santa Clara, working on SC1 expansion. So I dealt with a lot of union and non-union organizations. There are benefits to having unions and being a part of a union. One of the problems is that sometimes the people that are in the unions tend to be assholes. In the industry that we were in, we didn't have a union. So we were considered scabs or some crap like that. And they would do stuff to try to sabotage your work so they get more union money, more union people working, even if there's no union for what you do. So, but there are benefits to having unions. Unions do require much more education, much more training before you can advance. So you get a better quality laborer, whether it be a laborer, electrician, pipe fitter, carpenter, whatever. You tend to get a little bit better quality of knowledge and experience than you would if you went with a non-union company. But the other side of that is if you're union, after 4 hours, you get a lunch. You have a 4-hour minimum. There's a whole bunch of different things that the unions can get collectively bargain for that non-union workers can't. And that's the way that is. But when you think about it, this country was built on the backs of labor. Golden Gate Bridge, it didn't just grow itself. Alcatraz, Empire State Building, the World Trade Center. Very few things in the United States weren't built on the back of labor. Look at the railroad system, the interstate highway systems. Those were all built on the back of people that were laborers. And so we owe a great debt of thanks for all the people in this country that go to work every day. Now, it's been a lot tougher the past couple of years because it's been, the COVID thing. But some workers were deemed essential workers, myself and my wife included. So we didn't really get a choice. We still had to go to work. We still had to put ourselves out there and put ourselves at risk while everybody else got to stay home. Not that I would have wanted to stay home because I'm the type of person that, I want to work for my money. I don't like being on unemployment or whatever because that's just not me. I have been on unemployment in the past and I hated it. But it was the downturn in the market and lots of people had lost their jobs. So, the company that I work for decided to send all their work to Singapore, except for some stuff, which went to Waseca, Minnesota. And they wanted me to move up there to run their plating lab. And not going to happen. The housing market was so destroyed, I wouldn't have been able to sell my house to move in the first place. and the sign-on bonus and stuff wasn't enough to actually even put a down payment on a second home to move into while we're waiting to sell the first. So I decided not to do that. So I was unemployed for about 6 months. Everybody was unemployed. They had the job that I finally got. They had 1,500 applicants for one position. And of that 1,500, they did searches by keywords to try to figure out the best type of people to interview. And I think they interviewed 10, and I got the one job. So I beat 1,500 people for one job, and that was in 2009. And I've been there almost 12 years now. So, I've worked really hard to maintain that behavior. I don't like switching jobs. I like to keep my seniority. I like to keep my benefits. I don't like having to go from one place to another. Now, when you talk about labor or workers, this is the new millennium. And unfortunately, we have at least where I work, and I'm kind of guessing that you're going to see this everywhere, is you got a lot of younger folks that don't understand what a real work ethic is. Like most of us that grew up during a lot of these, heavy duty building periods during the 70s, 80s, and 90s, where we created a lot of good things. So they tend to, kind of get the impression that they feel entitled to the job instead of earning the job. And they expect, they don't come to work on time because they don't think they really need to. And I just have a hard time working with people like that. Unfortunately, I think it's nationwide. I think everywhere you go now, you see that kind of behavior, and it's kind of sad. But I mean, it is what it is at this point. Most of us are I'm like an old dinosaur. I'm used to getting up, going to work every day, earning my pay, and coming home. I've been working at this place for almost 12 years. It'll be 12 years in December. I've been late once in 12 years. And that was specifically because of the fact that the bridge on I-10 over the Salt River was jammed up with a rollover truck. And so I was 2 minutes late. It sucks, but it is what it is. But you don't see that type of dedication in our younger workers these days. So my advice to some of your older workers like myself, start taking the younger workers under your wing, maybe helping them learn what a real work ethic is. Hopefully we can change things. I don't know. I mean, it's possible, but I mean, it could get worse, but it definitely can get better. So while you're celebrating your Labor Day tomorrow, because we're going to celebrate the way we usually do, which is barbecue. Yeah, we're going to barbecue. But celebrate the actual, successes of labor in the United States, including yourself, because you're a part of it. And then put in your mind and heart that you're going to help some of the younger generation that don't understand the same work ethic that we do, make them understand it. Make them show them the importance of being on time, taking your breaks properly, not taking extended lunches, respecting your supervisors and those that are above you in the organization, because that's kind of what we really need these days. Now, coming up next weekend is the 20th anniversary of September 11th. And most of us, I think, were around at that point in time, unless you're really young, younger than 20. If you're under 20, then you don't remember because you weren't there. It's kind of the 9/11 is to me what Pearl Harbor was to my mom and my dad. It was our surprise sneak attack, our great entrance into being attacked on our own soil, because we haven't been attacked on our own soil since Pearl Harbor. And that was back in December 7th, 1941. So when you're thinking about, and what I've been thinking about, is where I was at, what I was doing on 9/11. And I was here at home. My wife and I were both working from home that day. I was getting ready for some meetings, some conference calls that I had to participate in when the first plane hit the tower. And a friend of mine sent me a message, and she's in England. She sent me a message and said, "Hey, what happened to you? Why did you guys just get attacked, or you were attacked?" And so I clicked on the news, and sure enough, the first plane had already hit the tower. And I was watching the live video from that moment. So I was actually watching it when the second plane came in and hit the other tower. And it was a really serious moment in time, kind of like when I watched the Challenger explode live, because I was a senior in high school. I was in study hall, and we were all watching the launch and watching it explode on liftoff, whenever it got up there. And that was just unreal. And so was 9/11. 9/11, you felt like you got kicked in the stomach or in the balls or both at that point. If you don't have balls, you felt like you got kicked in the balls anyway. So those of us that were there, and of course after the aftermath of that was we spent 5 or 6 weeks in New York working on the equipment from Building 7, the Bank of New York, to verify that the equipment was still in working condition and that because it was being sold at auction, and making sure that there was no asbestos detected on the equipment since all those buildings came down. It was tough, and it was the one time that I can remember in my living memory that we actually became Americans without the difference of being liberal or conservative or white, black, whatever, Hispanic, Chinese, Asian, Indian. We were all at that point in time Americans. And it was a really great feeling to feel that national togetherness, even though it was a short period of time. See, even my dog, he agrees with me. He wasn't here then, but he still agrees with me. So that's what's coming up next weekend. And it's not going to be, I'm really hoping that the celebrations and stuff like that go well, and that we don't have any copycats. We've already had problems with ISIS-K coming out of Afghanistan with their attack on the airport that killed 13 U.S. servicemen and women. So we can't count out that there's a possibility that there could be another repeat of this type of behavior. I personally hope not, because I really don't want to have to go through all that again. I don't want to have to see the loss of life, see the destruction of, a monumental construction project. It was tough watching the collapse. It really was. It was tough seeing people falling out of the 108th floor window. It was tough knowing that people were trapped in the building when it came down. And there was nothing they could do about it. It just came down. So keep that in mind over the next week. Keep in mind the first responders that ran into the building without even hesitating, that never came out. Think of all the people that sifted through the rubble, that went through all of that to try to find any other people that may have somehow survived. It's another, one of those things where you look at it and you got to say, I lived through this and we can do better. Yes, that's next weekend. Next weekend also on September 11th is the Rio Salado September multi-gun match. Registration for those of you in the area opens tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. on Practice Score. Hopefully I can get into it and sign up and get a slot. That way I can shoot next weekend. Lord knows I need to practice. The Arizona State PCC's championships are on the 25th and 26th of this month. For those of you that are in the area, if you want to come see a good competition, it's a good 2-day competition for you to watch. It's actually 3 days because those of us that are on staff shoot on Friday. And then the main match is Saturday and Sunday. It's always a good time. It's a little bit different because everybody's using pistol cartridge carbines, rifles made with pistol cartridges. Okay, I use what's called an FX9. It's by Freedom Ordnance. It's an AR based platform that shoots 9mm. I've been using it for the past couple of years. It works pretty well as long as I don't twist the barrel or screw up the sight or mess up the scope on it, because I've done that before. But so that's the end of this month. Then there's the week after that is Red October Cold War. It's the second annual Red October Cold War match. Should be a good time. People shooting free world weapons versus communist weapons. So I'm using an AR-15, which is based on the M4 model. And another buddy of mine that's shooting is I think he's using an AK-47 or something similar. So it's a good time. It's a good match. For those of you that want to get started in your local area, go to practicescore.com and you can search in your area. You can create a free account and search for matches in your area. Here we've got a whole bunch of different matches that happen at Rio Salado, which is about 20 minutes away from me. You've got Tuesday Night Steel. You've got USPSA match. Is that right? USPSA matches. There's an old cowboy match where everybody's dressed like cowboys and they're all using 6-shooters and double barrel shotguns from the 1800s. It's pretty cool. It's really cool to watch. So even if you just want to watch a competition like that, that'd be a great one to see. But we've got a whole bunch of they got like ladies' nights. I'm hoping here in the near future to have my certification for a instructor, as an instructor for the Liberal Gun Club. I'll be teaching introduction to range safety and introduction to firearms, I think is what the two classes are that I'm going to be signed up for, that I'm going to be teaching. So those of you that are actually in the area, if you want to go through those two courses, you can let me know. We'll set that up somehow. I have to figure out, where I can actually have the training at, time, date, all that other stuff. I'll probably get with my sponsor because they do have a training room at their gun store. That's where I took my CCW class a couple of months ago. So, that's a possibility too. But we'll have to see. It's just going to depend. I think that's pretty much it match-wise. There's still, the monthly multi-gun match, monthly PCC match, tactical shotgun, if they bring shotgun back in, which I hope they do, because I don't like shooting PCC that often. I do for the tournaments because it's a lot of fun. But the match it's like Thursday afternoon. And the rest of the matches are usually on the weekend, but this one's Thursday afternoon. So I don't like stopping on the way home and having to go shoot and then having to come home late. The dogs get upset, that kind of thing. But yeah, so those are the upcoming matches that I have. I'm going to be taking some time off at the end of the year. We always take the last week or so off for the end of the year for reboot, mental health, rebooting ourselves for the incoming year. This year we're taking 2 weeks off because the company holidays landed just perfectly to where you only need to take 2 days off the first week and 3 days off the second week, and boom, it's pretty cool. And then of course, next year starts up. Hopefully we'll be past COVID again, so that we can actually start getting back into matches, because since COVID started, in 2019, I did 27 matches. And then 2020, I did 9 because it was harder to get into the matches because social distancing, they reduced the amount of people allowable in each squad size, got dropped. So it was hard to get into the matches. And in 2020, we were working 6-7 days a week for 46 weeks because we were essential. I say sacrificial, but essential workers. So we just didn't get a lot. We didn't get to go out a lot. We didn't get to tournament much. So hopefully sometime in the next couple of months, they're going to be doing the Excommunicado match at Cowtown Range. I really loved that match last year. It was a lot of fun. It was a 2-day event. It was cool. It was fun. I did not care for the rain that much because it was rain and cold on one day. So it was a lot of mud, and I'm always worried about slipping and busting my ass, which doesn't do good when you're running with a firearm. So try to remember that. Now, upcoming shows, I'm still looking for interesting content. I have not received any emails or messages from anybody about different things to talk about. So I've just whatever I can think of before the show starts, that's usually what we do. But if you do have, those of you listening, if you have something that you want to see talked about, or if you want to be on the show and talk about your own, firearms related type avenues that you're working on, send me an email, scootersbrass@gmail.com, or you can message us through the webpage or the Facebook page, Scooters Brass. You can message through YouTube, make a comment in the comments section, and we can go from there. But because it's a holiday, I just want to do a quick show talking about Labor Day and talk about the upcoming September 11th. Next Sunday, I'll try to come up with some interesting topics. Maybe we can discuss, well, we've already discussed gear. We've already discussed reloading. I'll come up with something maybe. Hopefully, maybe I can actually get a guest to come on the show next week and with some sort of a topic they want to discuss, just to give a little content. But as for today, pretty much done for the day. I've got some more stuff around the house I want to get done before we, before the end of the day. And then we got all day tomorrow to rest, relaxation, and then barbecue. Barbecue's good. You got to get there. So thanks for listening in. Sorry it's a short show, but like I said, it's holiday weekend, and we've been bustling around the house and doing stuff that we don't normally have time to because we don't normally have 2-day weekends. So thanks for listening in. If you are in the Arizona, Phoenix area, and you want to get some good deals on firearms, accessories, or ammo, visit my sponsor, AJI Sporting Goods. They are on the trail west of Signal Butte, north side of the street. Can't miss it. It's got a big AJI sign on top of the building. They got ammo. They got guns. They pretty much got everything back in stock now. So if you're interested, stop by. Tell them Scooter sent you. They'll treat you right. It's a home, family-run business right here in the valley. So anyways, have a good weekend. Have a good Labor Day and a safe Labor Day. Please don't go out there and pound down a whole bunch of beers and then get on the road. You can kill yourself or somebody else, and that'd be bad. So have a good weekend. Have a good holiday, and have a safe week.